Hello there, Jennifer Pearson, Thistle Gypsy here. And I recently, as in it arrived this week, got the Romantic Tarot. Where did I put the actual box? The Romantic Tarot, with the plan of doing more love readings on my channel, I have to remember, or remain fairly brief, but some love readings. I just didn't want to use the regular tarot because I just feel that it's just not the best tool actually for it works for love readings, but for two people in love there's just a lot of other things that the tarot brings into play, and I just felt the need for a different deck. And so I looked online I looked online at the images of different decks and, went through this painful process of making a decision. And there weren't very many reviews online of this deck, even though there were some of the images. But I really decided to go with it, and so I bought it, and it arrives in the mail, and I'm really excited. And it turns out to be a rather cynical deck, and it's amusing in some ways, and I do admit that there has to be kind of a difficult balance. And this is a Los Scarabeo deck. Yes, and my first Los Scarabeo deck. But this deck overall, all of the themes, there's just a cynicism about romance in general, even though it's called the Romantic Tarot, so it's a little weird. So I felt like I needed to let other people know kind of the take on this deck. And I don't know that I'm unhappy with it, but I don't think it'll work, certainly not alone, for the kind of reading I would like to do. At least I'm not thinking so. Maybe I'll try it and see how it works out. But I wanted to give a rundown for each card because, and I'm not going to do it all in this video. I thought I would start with the Suit of Cups. I'll start with the Suit of Cups and go from there, and do one video for each suit, and then one video for the Major Arcana, which depart, but I think not as much as the suits, the Minor Arcana. So the individual meanings of the cards can differ radically from the traditional Rider-Waite interpretation of the cards. And that's why I thought I needed to let people in on this. Again, it's not necessarily bad. It's actually, I think, for somebody who is going through a journey in which they are, in fact, it would be particularly good, I think, for somebody who has been married and then divorced and then is re-entering the whole dating scene. But anybody who's going through the dating scene, I think this would be a good reflective deck to pick out cards, because it does reveal some of the less savory aspects of the whole dating scene and the romantic scene. We want it to be about romance, or some of us do. We want it to be about romance, but there are all of these layers of desire and motivation and all of these things that come into play when you're out searching. So maybe they should have called this the dating deck or something like that. The older person's dating deck. It lacks the hopefulness that you would probably want to see in a dating deck for someone who is younger. So you get a little white book. It's extremely little. And it contains 4 languages, which I think is basic for this publisher. However, the the definitions themselves, the guides that you get for the cards, are also extremely brief. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down in this particular video the Suit of Cups, and I actually have the Rider-Waite-Smith deck right here with the Suit of Cups in case we need to compare some of them. But for the most part, I don't think you'll need that. I could bite my tongue here in a minute. So what did I do? I had it open too, and they call it the chalices in this deck. And they've changed it, you know, I think of cups as your nourishment. I think of it as spiritual as well as emotional nourishment. That's my take on the cups. In this deck, they take cups to be indulgence. That's their take on cups, is just sensual indulgence. And they're putting it, and they call it the Suit of Chalices, and it's centered in Venice, all right? Water, okay? So the city of water. And also known as the City of Masks. I can't recall the name of the festival, but there's a very famous festival that in which people do elaborate costumes and masks and stuff. So they definitely play on that in here. So, and there is, so you have to go back and you have to think about that, that we mask our desire, there's that aspect of it, or we want to be able to do things without people knowing who we are actually. And so there's even, I mean, that could apply to internet dating and stuff like that, right? We want to lead people on when we're not serious. You're able to wear a mask, things of that nature. So it starts out nice and traditional. So I'm going to try to show you. I'm not going to give you super close-ups because of my camera situation, but it starts out pretty traditional, right? You have a font, it's interior, and all of these are placed in cities, so you don't have the lush outdoor feel to these cards. But you have an overflowing font, caged in, okay? This actually is quite traditional. You have a dove above, again, quite traditional. And the meaning is quite traditional. Baptismal font, something is born and it will be grand. The road ahead now seems winding, but the decision was made long ago and must be followed through feelings. And that's actually a long description for these cards. And so there's kind of a fatefulness that I usually don't associate with the card, but that's minor. Okay, so great, lovely. So now we have the two, and this is the beginning of the departures. And what this tends to do is go through a development at the very start. It uses the twos. I don't know about the threes, is that, no. But the twos, I think in most, if not all, certainly in the chalices, and I don't know what they're calling the coins in here, and pentacles. The twos are not duality. The twos are about kind of the first inkling of attraction. And so here we are. Let me put it over on this side. Here is the Two of Cups. So you see here people just kind of eyeing each other at two separate wells. So they're drinking at two separate wells. So forget about that sharing of the drink and the binding of two people, the kind of pagan association with hand fasting, all that. No, none of that here. This is, and not even healing. It's two people with the mask. So one of them, I think, has the mask. The woman has the mask partly up so that she can drink, but they're sitting at two separate wells, eyeing each other. I think he's eyeing her, she's not eyeing him. So there's the beginning. There's the beginning of attraction. And what does it say here? I wouldn't even call it a toast. Here they're saying the toast. The sea is rough with change and crashes against the stony cliffs of the heart, which is not indicated by the card. I always go by what's on the card. Soon the storm will cry to the rocks to become flesh. But they do have kind of the traditional meaning at the very end. Just like with the ace, they had the word feelings as a key word. And then for 2, they have the word affinity. And that's appropriate. So it's giving a nod to the traditional meaning of the card, even if it really isn't depicting that. I guess maybe he is thinking that maybe there is an affinity, but you know, they're not even fully looking at each other, so he can't really know. And then the 3 takes a completely different turn, if you ask me. All right, so this is the 3 of Cups, which to me it looks like a gentleman entering a bordello, and there are 3 women he could select from. So, you know, he's about to have a party with 3 women. That's what it looks like to me. And so what are we calling this? 3, the house of love. Yes, the whorehouse. For the 3 of Cups. The body is happy when it has what it wants. The mind suffers when it understands what is missing. Balance must be found. And then happiness. The house of love. So, you know, the picture does not, you know, really depict half of this. The body is happy when it has what it wants. He's got this guy that's entering, he has this kind of silly look on his face. And the mind suffers when it understands what it is missing. That aspect of this card is completely missing in the picture. Okay, here we go. The 4 of Cups. And the 4 of Cups is usually, let me pull that out, about an offer. So the 4 of Cups is about an offer that is being turned down or being satisfied, okay? And here we have what looks like an acceptance of an offer. You know, they're coming together. She has a mask, he does not. So maybe she is the cup that is being offered in the traditional card. But instead of being ignored, you know, they are face on. What's really interesting to me is she's wearing this gown of white. She's masked. She's wearing this gown of white. But if you look at the cat in her lap, it looks like a tiger. And so, to me, there's this implication that this woman is actually a tiger, even though she's wearing this gown of purity. And so what does it say for that 4? Oh, that's interesting. So they're calling the 4 of Chalices the betrothed, completely different from the Rider-Waite. The betrothed, just one more tile. The last one and the great mosaic will be complete. What does that have to do with? One last effort and the door to pleasure will open. And then there's the keyword of boredom. Okay, so that has the keyword that's appropriate for this, not what is appropriate for this. Okay, and so this, according to betrothed, they're supposed to be an engaged couple. Who knew? looking at the card. And if that's the case, why is she still wearing her mask? Okay, and then the Five of Cups is really amusing, and some of these really are quite amusing. So, so you have to look at this card. So two women are attacking a guy. Two women are attacking a man. I need to change the way I'm doing this. It's too difficult. And we have Venetian quarrels, it's saying. Venetian quarrels. The peace of night must end and will end. This is why you end the game and take away everything you can. Regrets. Now, traditional Rider-Waite card is this. Okay, very different. This person may be having regrets, remorse. You know, you've got 3 cups, you've got 2 over here. So there's in the traditional Rider-Waite, there's the sense of of losing your perspective in your grief and forgetting, you know, the good things that you still have. Nothing of that here. That is not what this card is about at all. This is about getting caught in the act, probably, of doing something inappropriate. As it says in here, there's a game player. It says Venetian quarrels, but to me it would be, you know, somebody has been found out in being dishonest or maybe courting 2 people. The women maybe shared some information and bang. So this is a card about being caught in the middle, being exposed and caught in the middle. Very different from the traditional. 6. The 6, none of the innocence. None of, okay, so here we have them. Traditional Rider-Waite. 6 of Cups is innocent reminiscence of happy times in the past. Now, this could be happy time, remembering times in your youth when you did stupid things. But again, it's really focused on indulgence, or in this case, overindulgence. And instead of happiness, really doing stupid things. So very different. So 6 of Cups. Drinking too much and making idiots of yourself in front of the women. So the women are standing up there and they've got their cups, but they look like they're holding it okay. The guys are about to topple over and there are wine bottles all over. So, very different. Next, 7 of Cups. This, I think, is much more similar to the traditional, or can be skewed that way at any rate. You might not be able to see it in the image, but she has 7 cups on her fan. And this fellow is masked, so it's as though he is maybe he is one of the cups in the traditional thing. But it's like he's passing through and sipping all of the ladies or something. So, but if we read here, oh, I didn't read for 6. We had wine and beautiful women. Too many melodies have remained on the score. But when love leaves something behind, sooner or later it retraces its steps to retrieve it. I don't know. Nostalgia. That, again, they give the final word is appropriate for the Rider-Waite. So what they say for the 7 is kissing the hands. In the darkness of night, everything has the same color and the same form. A light is needed to feel unique again. Illusion. I don't think their definition has anything to do with their card, except the illusion in the sense that the man is wearing a mask, and so things look good as long as they're masked. She feels flattery because he's still masked. Who knows what he is, who he is, that sort of thing. Okay, 8, and I might have to, I see my battery's running low on my camera. Okay, so we have the 8 of Cups, which is traditionally about going on a journey of self-discovery. And here we have none of that. It just looks like they're calling an end to their festive night. And so what does it say? Waiting. Love is timid. You must grasp it now or you will lose it. When the flame quivers, you must close the window. Return. I think it's just the end of a night of fun, and he is going home with 2 ladies. And everybody looks happy, so it might just be friendly love. This takes a completely unsavory turn. This is the 9. The 9 of Cups, which in the traditional Rider-Waite is this card. And this card I take to be a guy who's just incredibly happy and has so much emotional happiness that he's willing to share it. I mean, this, to me, this is one of the wedding cards, because this is what you do at a wedding, right? You say, drinks all around. You just come celebrate with us. You know, we're very happy. This, the man, well, the woman looks unhappy. The man looks like he's getting something for nothing. So to me, there's just a really unsavory possessiveness about this, as though he's saying, I've got 9 cups and I'm keeping them, they're all mine. In other words, lady, you're all mine. I've got this and you too, and you're not getting away. So here they're calling it lovebirds. These do not look like lovebirds to me. Yes, there are doves sipping from the cups, but the people, that looks like an unbalanced relationship to me. Okay, the lovebirds. In the fog of distraction, it is difficult to decide, but willpower does not fear the blankets of smoke. And so it's like the guy says, well, you don't seem like you're interested in me, but I'm going to grab you anyway. Perhaps you will lose some certainties, but you will find them again further on. Gratification. Perhaps you will lose some certainties. I don't know, maybe she's about to give him a smack. He'll lose his certainty. So he's being very bold, but she does not look happy about it. And this is a very interesting, the 10. So here we have the 10. So you have kind of a home environment here, but you know what? You have the 10 of cats. There are 10 cats, or 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, there's 10. And you also have 10 cups over here embedded in the wall. So you do have kind of the happy home life, but she is still wearing a mask. And we have 10 cats. So, you know, maybe I'm not familiar with the European take on cats. I don't know. So it says, serenity, the boundless world of space and time, of fables is not for you. The gates protect what is yours. Okay, so kind of closing off. That's kind of, even this card is much more open. There is that feeling of family. This is almost actually, reminds me more of the 10 of Pentacles, to be honest. For one, there's no happy children here. So, but there are the animals. Okay, on to the court cards. And the court cards are as strange as everything else. So, the page has a cup, just like the traditional page, but he's wearing motley. He's wearing motley. So he's reminiscent very much so of the Fool, which is appropriate. Okay. Because I do think of them as beginnings, the fools. So he's like bringing a cup to someone. So, I can live with this. This makes some sense. He is older than the usual Rider-Waite page, but you have to remember this is supposed to be a romantic deck, and so it needs to be somebody who's engaged in romantic endeavors. This is weird. This is the Knight of Cups. To me, the Galahad-ish sense of this knight and purity of intention of this knight is completely lost here. So that's part of the cynicism of the deck. There is no equivalent to that, really. And I don't know that he's tipsy, but it doesn't look like wine that's in his glass. It's something muddy. So there's nothing, so again, that purity is lost. And the woman's mask is down here, as though she's been discarded or she's run off, and he is masked. And now the Knight of Cups is wearing a helmet, but still, that's just weird. The Queen of Cups makes sense to me. She's a beautiful, impressive lady, but she's not. Who is the one? That's the Empress, or no, the High Priestess. So there's no sense of her being an intuitive person. There's no. Again, I think she's this. She's champagne. She's champagne. She's not pure water. Look at that. It's a golden gown. She's champagne. Or white wine, maybe. So, but an impressive lady, at any rate. Not a schmuck by any means. And lastly, the King of Cups. None of the kings are appealing to me. And I guess, really, if I'm honest with myself, none of the kings of the Rider-Waite are particularly appealing either. But this guy has rather severe features to me for the King of Cups. I think of this person as being an unsmiling. I would expect him to be a happier person, somebody who's more capable and comfortable showing emotion than this guy in his ornate Venetian, I don't know what they call those boats. It's not a gondola. It's obviously something bigger and more elaborate. So there's a rundown of the cups. Very different set of cards in general. So I'm going to let you go for now, and I will be back on another day, maybe even another week, because I'm kind of busy right now. But I do want to run down each of the suits, because there's more amusement to be had, there's more cynicism to be had, and I just want people to see how different it is, what a different take it is on romance and the tarot system. Thanks. Bye-bye.